We finally got our tech working here, but we're having a really powerful conversation today about going beyond the basic uses of AI. Look, I've been using AI kind of just as a research tool. I've been learning how to fine tune my copy, maybe polish it up a little bit here and there, maybe get a really nice little project plan together. But there's so much more we can do with AI. And I have invited a friend of mine to come and talk with us about how to go from AI chat to actually creating useful tools. This is a new way to build visibility, but it goes so far beyond that. This is like the cutting edge of how we attract and nurture leads, how we add massive value to our programs. I mean, we're just going to hit the high notes today because there's so much we can learn. But let me introduce you to my friend, Denise Wakeman. Hello, Denise. I'm so glad that you can join me here for Growth Fuel
Hello.
Live. So in
I'm
case
glad
we
it
finally
worked.
made it. So if you're scrambling around looking for where we went live, we had to switch because, with all new tools, there's always little things that you gotta on the fly figure out. But
Yeah.
we're pros here, so we made it work.
Mhm.
But let me give Denise a real introduction. And if we're new friends, hey, hi, it's Melanie Benson. I'm the host here of the Growth Fuel channel on Substack. I also host the Top 1% podcast, Amplify Your Success. So if you're listening to this later, you can catch these conversations live on my Coach Melanie Benson Substack channel. And you want to do that because you get to actually interact with the guests. That's one of the reasons I freaking love Substack. It's like we love listening to podcasts later, but lives, you get to have interaction. You can ask questions. So it's very exciting. Now, Denise Wakeman is a digital marketing strategist. She hosts the Visibility Edge here on Substack. And she has been helping solo business owners build visibility online since, let me get this right, 1996. Denise, I think that qualifies you as an OG. Now,
Yeah, I'll take that.
yes, you earned it. So, Denise currently focuses her work on helping experienced business owners use AI in very practical ways, including creating simple interactive tools that support lead generation, client management, and adding value to your paid programs. And we're going to look at how you can really strengthen your visibility today. But I have a fun fact to drop about Denise and I. We first met, and I think I was speaking at a marketing event in 2006, didn't we figure out? And
2005, 2006,
yeah,
something like
somewhere
that.
in
Yeah.
there. We stayed in touch. We actually lived near each other, and I had her on my very first podcast back. I looked it up. I think it was 11 years ago. So that was the OG podcast for me, Small Business Optimizer. And then we reconnected here on Substack. So I'm going to give a little shout out to this amazing platform. A lot of people are like, Melanie, do I really need another social media platform? No, you need a platform that actually connects you to human beings who want to read and connect and collaborate. That's my big call to action for Substack right now. It's like real stuff's
Yeah,
happening here, and it reconnected Denise and I. So thanks for being here.
absolutely. All of a sudden, a name you recognize pops up in your feed, and it's like, what? Oh, she's here now. All right.
I know, and I felt
Hi.
so welcomed by you and several other people who we know each other here or in the past, and we reconnected here. So yeah, that was really fun. So let's get into it. I am really excited for this conversation, and actually, I got so excited about what you and I are talking about today. You're actually going to be a guest inside my Rising Tide Collective in a couple weeks for one of our special roundtable trainings on AI tools because there's so much going on. I have felt so behind. I'm like scrambling to catch up. So let's talk a
There's
little
so
bit.
much.
I know
So,
there's just and there every time I turn around, there's a new tool. There's something new it's doing or something you shouldn't be doing. Like now we're learning here on Substack that they have AI detectors, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, should I even be using it? Which I think we should talk about today.
yeah,
So
we
let's
could talk about
start.
that.
Yeah, let's start easy. Everybody I know uses AI for research. We use it, most people I know are using it in some way, shape, or form to help with their copy. What do you think changes when you start to use it to build tools that your clients and your leads can put into action?
There's a couple things I think it changes. I think it changes your perception of AI from being, you know, just a copy creator, which of course that's how we all started because you type in prompts, right? And it's like type, give me an email, whatever. Uh, but when you see what's possible to build, because I've been watching a lot of people on Substack, primarily women, building really cool stuff. And that made me kind of look at it and go, wait a minute, I could probably do that. So
Hmm.
there's a confidence builder in there because in the past, if you thought about building, a piece of software that did something, right? It would be like, well, I don't know how to code. And, that's something that I would have to pay somebody to do. And all of a sudden, there's the ability to actually do it yourself. And that's a huge leap from just, you know, creating a sales page, where it's based on content that you're developing. Building something also changes your relationship with the people you're connected to, because building something that serves a purpose to help the people in your network, for example, helps them connect with you on a much more engaged level. And it could be something as simple as a skill on Claude that people download, but every time they use it, they're using it because you gave it to them or sold it to them or whatever, included it in a course. And that's very different than creating a lead magnet, for example, that's a PDF that's 25 pages that people download and stick in their cloud storage and never get around to reading. It's gone, it's past. Maybe they read it, the first 5 pages, and it's like, oh, I don't have time for this. I'll get to do it later. But when you've built something that they can actually do something with, and they're taking action to complete a project or to complete a task in a project, that's huge, because now you have helped them do something, but you didn't have to be there to do it for them or instruct them. You have built something that helps them do it themselves.
And you're staying top of mind because if you've done a good job naming it, they constantly see you when they use the tool, right?
Exactly. And there's a lot of, as I mentioned, a lot of women who are building stuff that I follow. So, and that also is what, when I saw somebody else doing it, that was like, oh, wait a minute. I mean, I could do that? That whoa, okay. Head explode, right?
Yeah.
But so like when I use a tool called Carousel Bot, which somebody that I met on Substack, her name is Karen Spinner, she was asking for people to, she was building a carousel, like that we use on Instagram or LinkedIn. Can also use them here on Substack. You can use 6 images on Substack to create a kind of a carousel. But every time I use it, I think of her. And, I didn't know her at all. She said what she was building. I said, oh, I really hate creating carousels, so I never do it. So this really, I think, is cool if you can build it. And I'd love to be a beta tester. And she said, okay. And so that's how I got to know her. Every time I use that tool, when I publish an article, I'm thinking of Karen.
Mm.
So, and I have lots of examples like that of things that I've downloaded that people have built, Claude skills, custom GPTs, that kind of thing. And every time I use them, in the back of my mind, there they are.
I have a little bit of GPT envy because I think they're so cool, and I've not built
Mhm.
one. And I have a collection of GPTs that people have created that I use regularly. So I really understand this. But
Yeah.
GPTs are just one example of how this might look.
Yeah.
And I think all of us are pretty familiar with that piece of it. What are
Yeah.
some of the interactive tools that you've been experimenting with or you've fallen in love with that maybe gives us some ideas of how this could land in our own business?
Okay, well, I mentioned the carousel bot, which is a full-fledged product now, that's been built and that I use every week. That's from Karen Spinner. Another colleague of mine, Kim Doyle, who you may know,
Mhm.
she created a Claude skill combined with a Gemini gem that creates a sketch note, a really cool sketch note, because she loved creating sketch notes by hand. Now it can be created like in a few minutes, um, you know, by using Claude to create a prompt to give to Gemini, and then it's like there it is. I mean, it's really cool. So that's a that's kind of out there. Um, when I first wanted to start, experimenting with this, um, my friend Ellen Britt, and well, she told me she was building these, really complex tools, and she showed me, and I was like, "Did you create that on Lovable?" That's a vibe coding platform, which I also experimented with, but I realized you need to know a lot about code to actually know if it's working or not. And so Ellen said, "No, I'm using Claude to develop the code, and I'm doing it by hand in VS Code, which is a coding tool." And I was like, "Okay, that's what I want to learn. I like to know how something works. That's how it is." So I came up with I had been talking with another colleague who's a travel agent, and she had told me like the biggest thing that, I mean, travel agents hate to market. And so they just use whatever content the vendor sends them. And they don't make any edits on it. And I said, "Oh, maybe that's what I'll experiment with. That'll be my first experiment." And so I ended up creating a tool. It's not really public because it was really an experiment. But it was a tool to take vendor content and turn it into something your own, where you can pick the tone and put in the more details that are more specific to you and who you are. And that was the very first iteration of it. And you click a button and you've got an email. It was for emails first. And then it's like, oh, but what these things should be social media content too. And then I built that into it. So I ended up building something that was quite sophisticated, which I'm not really using. It's all totally geared towards travel agents, and so she and I are looking at ways of how we can partner to get that out to travel agents. But that was my very first experiment
Mm.
with creating something on with code, not with, and I was using Chat GPT and Claude Code along with these coding tools that help you show you how to code. It was
Yeah.
like
It
not the
literally
Lovable where it's
teaches
all
you.
happening behind you. Yes,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
teaching
you
me.
can yeah, it can tell you what to do, and then you do it, and then you have the thing, which is like, hey, I wanna give a little shout
Yeah.
out. We've got quite a few people joining us, Sheena,
Oh,
Aline,
cool.
Tammy Patzer, Sue, Rick, Stephanie, my team. James just joined us, and Vicky, and so I should have said this right out of the gate. You probably wanna have a notepad and write down the tools that Denise goes dropping along, so that you start to build your tool, library. I always have to do this when I'm with really smart AI people. It's like, they're like, "Oh, you could use this and you could use that." And I'm like, "Wait, hold on, let me write this down." So write it down, and if you got a question going along, we'll do a little question and answer at the end, so you can feel free to, drop them in the chat, but wanted to give you guys an acknowledgement for being here live with us. So
Yes,
Denise,
hello. I see names I recognize.
yeah, well, hopefully they're coming from both of our worlds, right? Which is
Yeah,
part of the beauty of the
yeah,
Substack lives.
yeah, yeah.
I Also, in terms of ways that I've seen people use it, I wanna give a little shout out to one of the Rising Tide Collective members, Lori, Young. She did something really cool. She created a offer analyzer. It was so
Yeah,
smart what she did, and it worked so well. I was one of her beta testers. And, like, just thinking outside the box a little bit, it did exactly what you suggested, where she took a problem her clients had and
right,
she, figured out how to give them feedback without her one-to-one time, and then, of course, it leads into
exactly.
more advanced ways that she can guide
Mhm,
them if they're like, "Okay, hold
exactly.
on, I have a problem with this offer, now I need some coaching," or, "I need a strategist to help me fix it," and so she basically
Mhm,
created a paid lead magnet, if you will.
mhm,
And I wanna dip into this a little bit because I think one of the ways we can separate ourselves in the marketplace, because everybody's got a quiz now. Everybody's got a downloadable PDF. Everybody's got a checklist or a guide or an ebook, right? Like, we
right,
have all the things.
right,
What are some ideas of how and why would this even be more valuable to have this experiential first step that is more engaging than just a flat, one-dimensional, download this thing, maybe they use it, maybe they don't.
right. Mhm, yeah, and that's exactly the point here is as when I started seeing, what when I mentioned when I started seeing what other people do and I was using their tools because anytime somebody has a tool, it's like, "Oh, I got to try that." Then I realized that it's I get to do something. I get to achieve something. I get a result. And it's not somebody giving me the result, it's me going through a process that or a framework or a workflow that someone has automated or created a skill for or whatever it is that they're giving you and you are achieving that on your own. You are inputting your worldview into it and coming out with something really fast usually. and I think that's a really big I think it's a huge benefit to for people who may fear tech or be hesitant to use AI. But if you're building something, if you're creating something that other people can use, it also bonds you closer to them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really building that kinda know, like, and trust factor on steroids, at least that's my experience
Yes.
of it, and,
Yeah. That's a
and
great way to
again,
put it.
your brand is the visibility edge. Talk about creating an edge and advantage in the marketplaces to give people micro wins the moment they
Hmm.
meet
Yes.
you,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah,
Because we live
and
in a
that's the
world
whole
of
was the whole thing. Yeah.
yeah, like, we live in a world where the first step and I am guilty of this, like, I'm in the middle of transitioning a lot of stuff, but it's like we're moving Mount Helens right now, it's like or Mount Helena or whatever it is. It's like it's a big move. But, I mean,
Yeah.
I love when, like, you give people something that they get such a massive piece of clarity, like you said, that they've
Mhm.
created, and now they're like, "Okay, so first of all, I've self-identified that I have something
Yes.
else that I need now, and I've
Yes.
already started to get to know this person that's provided me this tool, what else do they have?"
Yes. 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 And I think that's a huge point what you said about the know, like, and trust factor, because when somebody accomplishes something based on something you've given them, a lead or a prospect accomplishes something, they can say, "Oh, okay, this worked." Exactly what you're saying. This worked, and maybe I want to work with that person, right? And it's I think it's really much more impactful than an ebook.
Well,
I
and
mean,
I
come on, how many of you who are watching this have downloaded ebooks that you've never read? I
me
can say for a fact, yes, me.
and
And I
checklists
feel
and
bad.
PDFs, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's like, oh, oh, but I just don't have time right now or whatever. But when you can like use a tool and get a result in 2 minutes, as you said, that's a micro action. They get a micro solution and they can feel good about what they have achieved.
And I think this is a good moment to mention, a lot of what's worked for years and years and years is shifting in the marketplace. We all feel it. We all know it.
Hmm.
Not everybody has clarity on, okay, what's my thing that I'm meant to do next, which I think we're going to dig into here for a second. But what I know is that when we give people something to do in the beginning that is very time consuming, and they don't have that time, their attention now goes to something else. So even
Yeah.
here on Substack with your channels, with how you're developing your connection points with people, when we're giving people something that takes a long time to do, like read a really long article. I think that's why the notes feature here on Substack, I'm jumping around a little bit, but the Substack feature of notes has gotten so popular quickly is because it's a little snack, right? It's a little sound bite
Hmm.
that people can consume quickly and get to know, do I want more? And then when they
Exactly.
do, then we're going to that next layer of like, okay, what else does this person have? Then they're listening to the podcast, they're listening to the lives, they're reading the articles. And I think
Hmm.
this is a
Yeah.
similar thing that we're talking about here is like give people these quick wins, give them something they can hang on to, and then makes them crave more from you.
Right. And the difference of, between a note and a tool is you're not passively reading it and going, oh, that's really cool. I'm going to save that note because that's a thing too, and
Mhm.
I'll get back to it someday, or I'll save that article. And I'll get back to that someday. But if you're offering something that they can actually do something right that minute,
Yep.
you know, I you may know of her AI meets girl boss. I don't know
Yes,
if you've
I
seen
think you
her around.
turned me on to her.
Oh, I love her. I love her. She's a branding expert, and every Tuesday she drops a prompt that's really cool. Like it makes really cool visual, very cool images, and I look for those on Tuesdays because it's so much fun. Like this week, and that's a tool too because it's a prompt, but somebody has designed it so it does a very specific thing, and then she wants you to share it with her and tag her so she gets to know you, you get to know her, and am now a paid subscriber on her Substack because I just love what she's doing. And every Tuesday I look for that prompt and I go immediately, well, when I have a break, um, and I run it, and it's so great. This week's was, a view outside an airplane window, the view from 30,000 feet. Where do you want to go? Where have you been? What's your dream place to visit? And, I did like a suite of 6 of those. I live in LA. I love Paris. I love Peru. I've never been to Argentina. I love Kyoto. So like I had a whole suite there, you know, of my dream places to either go back to or that I love. So, you know, I'm totally hooked on her, what she's providing me to take action on. Now that's a
Key
fun thing,
point.
but yeah, yeah, yeah. Taking action is everything. And you want that when you take the time to build something, and again, I will say a custom GPT, a Claude skill, those are not difficult things to build because if you're already an expert in something, then you have all the content you need to build those. And that's somebody who can take action on it immediately.
Mhm.
And again, you always have to put your name on it so that people know it's you that created it. A lot of people don't. It's
Yeah, I know.
like, where did I get this? Who
Right.
gave this one to me? I can't remember, but I always put that in the instructions.
That's smart.
So
Well,
yeah,
we're probably getting a lot of little sparks starting to go off, people
I hope
thinking,
so.
"Okay, like, all right, like, this is really my time to do something with this." And there's lots of options, there's lots of tools, there's lots of ways that we can build these experiences, these micro wins. What would be some advice you could give someone, or how could we get started with choosing a tool that actually will support my business or support our listeners' business and solve a real problem for their audience so it does work to grow our audience?
I would say if you have not built anything with AI, like you've just been using it to write copy or brainstorm, start simple, really simple, because it's going to, like, you don't want to start with, a 10-page prompt of something to create because it's going to get messy really, really fast. So I advise people to start simple. And Ellen Britt and I have taught 2 courses on building with AI, hands-on, and it's been so exciting to watch people. But you want to keep it as the minimum viable product, basically. So, what is one problem that your ideal client has, and how can it be solved by AI, basically, because we're talking about building with AI. So, that could be, making a decision, like, your client's tool is like analyzing an offer. Well, that's important. It could be, should I do this or should I do that? It's, what's the next step I should take after I've done this? So these are really simple ideas. And then the thing to come to next is, what's the problem and what outcome do you want them to have with that tool, right? So, it's usually could be a decision. It could be something that they take and go use somewhere else, like my friend Kim Doyle's, where she gives a prompt and I get to use it, and then I get this really cool sketch note that reflects my article that I can use to promote on social media, right? I mean, I want a sketch note. I have no idea how to create a sketch note. So I use her prompt for a sketch note, right? And it takes 5 minutes from beginning to end, probably. So you want to think about that simplest first step that somebody would take. And then it's really easy to get real complex real fast, but you just got to keep it down for the first one. That this is something, one action, one outcome, because you can always add more later, always.
Mhm.
And AI is really good at inviting you to add more things. Well,
Yes,
you could
it
do this
is.
too, and you could do that too. And like, no, for this first one, this is all I want.
Yeah.
So, for example, I was building a tool that would show and it's not finished yet. I got kind of sidetracked, but that would show people where their visibility has gaps. And, it started out really basic and then it got really complex. But, it was just like, are you here or are you here? Yes or no. Okay, next. Are you here? Are you here? And now it's, it got pictures in it and it has a whole printout that goes with it and the whole thing. But it started out really tiny first. And once you see what can be done, then you can, elaborate on it a lot. So,
Yeah, it's great.
I would also say don't try to go for the visual, the look and feel first. Go for the making it work first. Don't worry about what it looks like because you can do that later. Just, it can be ugly, doesn't matter, plain. Does it work? Does the technology work in what you're trying to do? And, honestly, I've been building just using Claude and ChatGPT.
That's what I
And
use.
then, yeah, I mean, those are easy. I don't want to spend, you know, frankly, another $25 a month on top of the AI tools for a platform that is doing all this, but behind the scenes. I want to see exactly what's happening. And as you learn how to do this, your brain starts like, okay, I can see how that works and that works. I can see where the problems are. I can see where it needs to be enhanced. I can see where it should be removed. And so this is all your judgment and expertise that is coming to the fore.
Mhm.
You know, the AI tools are just taking direction from you. They are not, just making something up. I mean, you don't want to do that either. You want it to be your judgment. And that's why it's like using your expertise. I work with a client, and this is the first step I take the first time I do it. So that could be a tool that eliminates that step from the one-on-one time because they've already done it. They've got a result. And now you can start with the work.
Mm. Yeah, these are great ideas, and I love that you're bringing us back to keep it simple. It's so easy to go down the rabbit holes, to get sucked into these huge projects and then go, "Wow, this didn't really go where I thought it was. I wasted all this time." So, pilot it. My community member, she did a big beta run and got a lot of feedback from, her
Mhm.
community before she, opened it up to the greater audiences that
Yeah.
we all have. And it was really smart because not only did she capture testimonials that way, but she
Yep.
also found that, there was little enhancements and tweaks that she could do to make it perform better. Because I think that's the
Yeah.
other thing is, in my experience, we have to kind of run it through a few times for it to actually really get it worked out and streamlined and
Oh,
effective.
no doubt. Yeah.
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 We
This momentum, visibility momentum thing that I've been working on, I put it out for beta testers and got so much back that I was like, should I even continue?
Well, and I think this is a really good point, right? Like, there is a place, and I think, Tammy might be alluding to this here, where AI maybe kinda takes us down rabbit holes, and I've
Yes.
used AI tools where I'm like, "I'm so overwhelmed now, like, I don't even remember where I started, like, this isn't helping anymore, this is making me confused." And,
Yeah.
coming back to what you said of, like, how do we keep it really simple, the micro wins?
Yeah. The micro wins are the best and they're the easiest to start with. And what I have learned is you have to say no to AI. It's like, no, that's not what I want. This is what I want. I also constantly am when I'm in build mode, like I could sit there for 3 hours, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I have to say, okay, summarize where we are. Because I don't remember where I started 3 weeks ago. I mean, I kind of do, but I'm constantly asking for summaries. What haven't we done yet that we said we were going to do initially? Is that still relevant? I mean, I have a lot of those conversations, and I wasn't actually conversing that way with AI so much before. But now I do. It's like, no, that's yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. You're the one in charge. This is the
Mhm.
biggest thing is you're the one in charge.
Yeah. Well, we're going to leave everybody with one actionable step you can take. Before we do that, I want to have you share. You have a 15-minute post to newsletter shortcut that you want to share with
Hmm.
our community today. Tell us what it is and how we can find it. And we'll actually just drop that in the chat here as well for everybody live.
Okay. It's a 15-minute content shortcut that evolved from an article that I wrote. So again, looking for ideas of things to create, go look at what you've already created. And this came up because I was trying to figure out a way to create a content flywheel between Substack and my newsletter on Substack and LinkedIn. And so I started developing that. I made it into a 10-part mini course. And then I was like, well, let's just get that first piece, let people experience that first piece of how it works. And that's what I pulled out of it and put together as just, try it. See if you like it. If you like it, you can go for the whole thing. It's a pretty simple process, but it enables people to create one piece of content, you know, full, long form content, let's say, and break it down in different ways and get how you can get more content out of those ways. So
Mhm.
it's a loop that keeps going.
Yeah, I love
So
that, and I mean, we're starting so again, if you go to denisewakeman.com/15min, MIN, shortcut, I dropped that in the show notes or in the chat here, we'll put it in the show notes for you guys all so you can go grab that and get started. Um, we've talked about, like, the lead generation side, like, how to be that first step, but oh my
yeah.
gosh, there's so many things you could do. One of the things we have been doing is building kind of time-saving processes that have sucked up a lot
Hmm.
of my time or my team's time, but has a really value add to my clients. So, like, when
Hmm.
somebody joins a 3 Accelerator Mastermind, one of the things we do is we audit one of their podcast interviews. So I know what's working, what's not working. They know what's working, what's not working, and those would take me hours to do before. And now we run it
Yeah.
through my GPT that my team built out, and I get these snapshots really quickly. So then when I listen, I also have this kind of synopsis, and I'm quickly seeing things. And we use a lot of tools like that. We have another one we use for human design and their brand positioning. And it's like these kinds of tools, think what can save time without losing
Hmm.
your unique, like, expertise, like, we're
Yes.
enhancing, not replacing,
Yes.
and
Yes.
allowing you to do
Absolutely.
more faster for your client base, like, I don't
Yeah.
know, do you have a tool like that that you've been working on?
Well, I've got a lot of GPTs too because I know they're so 2024, but they still are very valuable.
I'm so behind on the on the AI tools.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to imply that. It's just like
Okay, I own it.
I'm now converting GPTs into Claude skills because a lot of people, well, I don't want to use OpenAI anymore. I don't want
Yeah,
to. So it's like, okay, then I'll convert it over. And, that was something I had to figure out, how that works. It's not hard. I just hadn't done it before, but now I'm doing it. But, I use GPTs a lot for repurposing content. Also use Claude Skills for repurposing. Those are primary for that kind of thing. But I also use Gemini Notebook, formerly known as Notebook LM, for almost everything I do. To um, I have a notebook for all the articles I write, and so that I can pull out analysis from those things, or I can create briefs and summaries. I also do that for some clients also when we're doing. I have a program called Clarity in Action, and they give me all their stuff and I run it through, and I like Notebook LM or Google Notebook or Gemini Notebook, whatever they just changed it, but
yeah.
um, because it's a closed system. It's not taking any information from out in the wide world of AI training. It's all closed system, so it's very specific to that person's work or my work, whatever I'm doing. So those are tools I use a lot. So yeah, those are some of my favorites.
Well, if there's one action that you would invite our community to take to get out of thinking about this and really kind of gain that edge in their visibility, what's the one thing they could do from today's session? And then I have one more question I want to ask you before we wrap up.
Okay, I would say identify the first step is really to identify that one step that you can help somebody take, that by automating it, basically. So in whatever tool that you want. Then the next step would be to go to your favorite LLM, Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, whatever, and say, how could I make this a minimum viable product?
Mm,
And
love
see what
that.
comes up.
Okay, I love it. Well, before we leave this conversation today, this has been really inspiring. I've got my little brain is taking off with all kinds of ideas here, but I think it's worth because we've had here on Substack some AI related shifts in the universe. what's your take on this AI detector that Substack has introduced? Are you a fan, not a fan? Everybody's asking me, like, is it gonna die now and Substack's not gonna be worth being there anymore?
Okay. This is one of I'm not a rant person usually,
Yes.
but when I saw this happen, I ranted on somebody's post where I first saw it
Mm,
because I think it's ridiculous. I don't like it. I don't think it hurt. I don't think it helps anybody because if somebody is creating content that you get value from, do you care if it's made with AI? I don't care, right? I don't care. If I get value from something, great. I don't care how they came to it. Most people that I personally know are using AI as research, brainstorming, editing, maybe finding citations to quote for their articles, using it for their visuals. I don't care that they're doing that. So I think it's stupid. I think it. So, okay. I haven't said this out loud, so you're the first person that's asked me to say this out loud. So I'm saying I think it's a ridiculous tool. It doesn't work that well from what I understand, and it invites people to shame others.
there you
And
go.
it's like if somebody doesn't want to read my stuff because I used AI, goodbye. That's okay with me.
Yeah.
Everybody's using AI for something. So
Yeah. Thank
I
you for
don't,
sharing that.
yeah,
I did put you on the spot because I was like, "Oh my god, this has happened before,
yeah.
in just the last week or so." And I do think it's kind of one of those things where, we as human beings, we like to stir the pot a little bit and make big mountains out of change. And I think it's gonna find a natural kinda, uh, lull, if you will. And yeah, I mean, if
Yeah.
it's really important to you, then sure. If you don't wanna
Yeah.
read what
So I mean,
AI
and
has
you're kind
smoothed
of
over.
you're damned if you do and damned if you don't too, because if you disable AI on your content, then it's you get a and then somebody tries to check it, they get a message. Oh, the author has disabled it. Oh, so what are you hiding? There's those feelings of like, why aren't you telling me? Why
Mhm.
can't I see that you use 80% AI? But there's people who have done lots of experiments that have shown that it's like 100% human written something, content has come up as AI. So why would you trust that? So I
Right.
don't trust it. I don't use it. I'm not going to look up anybody else's content because I don't care if they used AI. If people don't like that I use AI, good riddance. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm going to do it. So
Yeah.
too old
Yeah,
to care about that
I think
stuff.
yeah, I think that's really what it is, like, it's so not on my radar. It's been, like, a lot
Mhm.
of noise lately, and,
Yes.
I think what my point is for this conversation is AI is a tool. You get to use the tool how you wanna use it, but we don't need to
Yes.
make anybody bad or wrong for what they choose to do with it, but you get to opt into it or opt
Exactly.
out of it, right? So
Each to his own.
yes, yes, do you. Denise, thank you so
Exactly.
much for joining me today, I just think you guys have brought, they've joined us live, you brought so much, value to the energy of the room today. A few of you are dropping some insights and some chat.
Hmm.
If you have a question for Denise before we wrap up, I'll officially close our conversation with a reminder that if this conversation has sparked something for you, in your ability to use AI to grow, to increase your productivity, to add more value. Hey, I love it if you subscribed and stuck around here on the Growth Fuel channel that I'm hosting here on Substack. If you are listening in on Amplify Your Success later, rate, review the show, but hey, consider coming over to Substack. It's really amazing here on Substack, especially when we do these weekly lives. So thank you all for being here. And let's just check in to Ruth saying something about the irony of LinkedIn is also going full in on AI, but then they pushed all us premier customers to use it. Oh boy. allies. LinkedIn's kind of trying to figure out their way right now. People
Yeah.
don't get AI,
Yeah.
it's not the brains, it can only reflect what you think. Very true. And yeah, I mean, we're in a new era.
Yeah.
We are in a paradigm where the resources available to us are unprecedented. It is our responsibility to use them ethically and to vet and discern wisely what we read, what we
Yes.
consume. Take ownership of the direction we use these tools. They are massively powerful and can do so much good for us. Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Denise, you want to wrap us up with
I
anything
love
there?
it. I can't beat what you just said because it's
Oh,
basically exactly what I agree with. You know, it's up to you how you use it, and that's the main thing. And you can also use it to amplify what you do, to amplify how you impact people. And I know that from experience because I jumped on ChatGPT like 3 days after it launched, and I was mind blown, and I'm still mind blown to this
mm,
day. And I love how it's advanced so much. And it's good for your brain to learn new things too. It's really
yeah,
good for you to learn
absolutely.
new stuff. So,
Thank you,
okay.
Denise. And if
Thank you, Melanie.
Denise Wakeman is a new friend for you, make sure you're following her, subscribe to the Visibility Edge, and consider upgrading to her amazing paid subscription as well. And thank you all for joining us. We'll be back again next week with another Growth Feel Alive. Bye, everybody.
Take care. Thank you, Melanie.